Well, this past week, Jews around the world and around us here in Stanmore will have been celebrating the festival of Purim. Purim looks back to the Old Testament true story of Esther. Esther, who by her bold faith saved her people from the wicked scheme of Haman. If you've never been familiar with the book of Esther, it'd be worth taking the time to read it. It's not an especially long book, but it's a wonderful testimony to God's protection and provision for his people through the raising up of just the right Saviour at just the right time. We're thrilled to have with us as a member at the chapel Ziggy Rogoff, who works for Jews for Jesus, helping to explain the Christian gospel, the true salvation that is found only in Yeshua, in Jesus Christ, to Jews around us here in London. And this week, to help us think about the festival of Purim, he's put together this video.
Shalom, my name is Ziggy, I'm Jewish, and I believe in Jesus. Feasts. I don't know what you think of them, but as you read the book of Esther this Purim, that recounts the days of the kings of Persia, you might think that not a day passed by without plenty of food and drink being consumed. The story of Esther is in many ways similar to the book of Exodus. They both are about rescue from genocide with a saviour, Esther and Moses, and ultimately the Lord who orchestrates everything. Genocide is not an easy word to say. Nothing sounds more awful to us. The word genocide didn't exist in ancient Persia, but that is what it was meant to be. Possibly a first Holocaust, as its main objective was the extermination of the Jewish people. And even to this day, we still enjoy Purim every year as an annual reminder of the salvation from a distant genocide that never came to pass. Esther is a remarkable story of the greatest divine setup. Haman, the archenemy, was brought to the pinnacle of success, only in order to descend to the depths of despair. Esther is written as pantomime for the pure joy of it. And for a book that never mentions God, this is a story of biting irony because God's presence is throughout the whole storyline. Let me read the moment of Haman's end. And the king returned from the palace garden to the place where they were drinking wine, as Haman was falling on the couch where Esther was. And the king said, "Will he even assault the queen in my presence, in my own house?" As the word left the mouth of the king, they covered Haman's face. This, one of the very last stories in our Hebrew scriptures, foreshadows another story, one which is not told as pantomime, where not the villain this time, but the hero of the story ends up dead. And Jesus saved his people by going to the gallows, and never did God look as so absent as the moment Jesus died. For on that cross, Jesus died receiving God's anger for our sin, so that all people, not just Jewish people, can be spared from the coming judgment. There will be much cause for celebration at the banquet at the end of the age, a feast to remember, a place where there will be no death, no suffering, no tears, no sin, and no more genocide. Have you accepted his invitation to dine with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords? Everyone is welcome. Shalom.